Reimagining Success, episode 23. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello there and welcome back. Today we're talking about how to start leveraging your time to create more freedom and flexibility in your business. Because if you've been following along in the last few episodes, and I'd encourage you, if not, to go back and have a listen, we are looking at setting up your business to create more freedom and flexibility in your life. And one of the most important areas to consider is how you best make use of your time. Because the reality is that there are only so many hours in the day. And in fact, did you know that we all have the same number of hours available? So when you see other people doing incredible things, bear in mind they have the same time. And even though we all have reasons, excuses, whether it's illness or children or busy jobs or whatever it might be, we do all have the same number of hours, 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So unless or even if you want to work 24/7, 365 days a year, you are going to need to make each hour that you do work count. And by the way, of course, and in the context of reimagining success, I'm always talking about not just work, but your life. This applies as much to your free time. So you want to be making sure that when you're not working, you're doing all the things you want to do, you're being with your family, you're taking care of yourself and so on. So this week we're looking at how you can start leveraging your time to create that freedom and flexibility in your business. Now, first, what do I mean by leveraging? Well, this is, to be honest, one of those awful jargon words that we used to make fun of and yet use all the time back in my corporate days. It comes from the idea of using a lever where you put in a small amount of effort on the one end of the stick or whatever of the lever, and then that gets amplified at the other end. So you can lift heavier things, for example. And so when it comes to your business and to the topic of time, I'm talking about using the time that you have, that we all have, to create a bigger impact in your business. Before you get to that, before you actually make the most of that existing time, you can create more time up to a point, in the sense that you can automate and create systems to handle repetitive tasks. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We can outsource or delegate tasks that take up a lot of your time and that someone else can do faster and more cheaply and often also better. That's what we talked about last week. And you can also delete any tasks, really take them off your plate completely if they don't add any real value to the business. So even before you begin to optimize your time, make sure that you've created as much space and time as you can for the things that really matter. So do have a listen to the last couple of weeks of episodes as well. Once you've done that, however, you do want to turn your attention to the time that you have now and how you can best leverage that time. So let's dive straight in. How can you start leveraging your time? And I want to look at 3 key areas. The first one is reviewing your current client and project list. So this is assuming, of course, that you're already in business. The second one is raising your prices. And then the third one is re-evaluating your business model. Now, by the way, if you haven't yet started, if you're just starting out, do still have a listen, because it's much better that you think about these things up front. You may not be able to embrace all of these strategies, and certainly not all of them from the very beginning, but it's important to be asking these questions up front early on to make sure you're considering these things, setting yourself up for success from the beginning. And then you can always add layers to your business model and so on further down the line. But I do encourage you still to listen, because there's plenty for a beginner here as well. So the first one was reviewing your current client and project list. Now, having a full client roster is a very good problem to have. However, the fact that you're busy all the time with clients, you have no more time to take on anyone else, you're already running around hustling, you're busy, that does not mean that you're being effective with your time or that you'll achieve the goals that you have in terms of your income, in terms of your freedom and so on with the business. When you're first starting out on your own, you may be tempted to say yes to each and every client, and I certainly did this at the beginning, and there is a time for that. So at the beginning, you're exploring, you're trying to work out, validate your business model, who your ideal clients are, and so on. You're also looking for more experience and testimonials or case studies and so on to build your credibility, to establish yourself in a new area. However, you have to avoid getting caught up in the long term with the so-called wrong clients and wasting your time, taking up all of your time with these wrong clients, which you should get clarity on as you move forwards, if you're ever going to achieve your bigger vision for the business. So to get into a bit more specific detail, have a look at your current clients and projects. And by the way, as I've been saying the last few weeks, these are quite concrete and content heavy episodes. So if you can, I'd encourage you to pause the episode, grab a pen and paper. Hopefully you have a notebook where you're capturing all the notes from this podcast and any other business tips that you're getting and your frameworks and strategizing that you're doing. If you can't right now, if you're doing something else, don't worry, but maybe make a mental note to come back another time soon, because we're moving forwards each week with a new topic, and to sit down and really write down these questions that I'm asking you. Have a think about your business model, your clients, and so on, all the bits we'll get into. So if you can, pause it now, grab a pen and paper. If not, try to come back to this another time. So again, first of all, we're going to take a look at your current clients and projects and ask yourself, which of these are driving the most value in the business? And you may have heard of Pareto's principle. It's the 80-20 rule, where the 80-20 ratio applies to all sorts of things, agriculture and business and incredible things all around the world in all areas of life. Specifically in business, usually 20% of your customers will represent 80% of your sales. And I think there's even another statistic, which is 5% of your customers will represent 50% of your sales, for example. Depends on your business model, of course, but essentially you are most likely going to have some core clients who come back again and again, who are really valuing the work that you do, who are investing more money. And those, of course, are the most important clients. So which of your clients and projects are really driving the highest value in the business? And secondly, as important for me, and especially when we're building a business that gives us all the things we're longing for, our ikigai that we've talked about, and that freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment, which types of clients do you most enjoy working with? So where is the best fit with the mission of your business, your personal values, the work that you love doing, your skill set, and so on? Where is that best match? And then on the other hand, which of your clients are contributing the least to your sales and profits? So which are the ones that are, really just paying peanuts and one-off projects? Which types of clients are the most painful to work with? You know, the ones who make unreasonable demands all the time, email late at night at the weekends, they require a lot of hand-holding, they're constantly pushing you on the price, and they're always late with their payments. So looking at the biggest value and lowest value clients, the best clients that you love, that are an ideal fit for you and your business, and on the other hand, the ones that aren't. And armed with that knowledge, you are going to want to fire some of your so-called bad clients. Or at least, if you don't want to dump them now, which I don't recommend, say no to any new ones or renewing projects going forwards of that same kind of profile, because you want to make space for more of your good clients. Working with self-motivated clients who respect you, who value your work, who collaborate effectively, who pay their invoices on time, mean that you can really make a bigger impact with less effort on your side. You can focus on creating value, on delivering great work with those incredible clients, rather than waste your time with the ones, where you have to chase the invoices, do lots of extra work, you're over-servicing and so on. So that's really important. And again, for me in my coaching, I can't tell you how much I love working with these self-motivated clients who are getting the best results, because I'll give them some questions, I'll share a framework, I'll give them my perspective, my tips, they'll run with it, and they'll come back the next call and they'll say, this is what I've done, this is already a result I've got, and that's incredible, compared to someone who, again, perhaps unfortunately constantly complaining and challenges you on the prices and I can't do this and so on. So I think, depending on your business, it's important to think about what's the right fit for you, but I'm sure you can already see some differences in the existing and past clients. And as you evolve the business, you'll want to focus more on the so-called good clients, whatever that means for you. Now, the second tip is to raise your prices. So if you're finding that your calendar is full, that you can't take on any more clients, and yet you're not reaching your income goals, then the obvious solution is to raise your prices. And while pricing your products and services at the right level can be tricky, and no one really has the magic formula, unfortunately, the truth is that you're almost definitely undercharging at the moment. So again, if you have a full roster of clients, then you can afford to raise your prices. You may well lose a few clients, and those are probably the ones who didn't see the real value in your work, let's be honest. So good riddance to them. But the higher pricing will make up for the lower quantity of clients. You'll have fewer clients, but they will be paying more. And to be honest, there may not be fewer clients. You may well find that once you get confident, you own your value, you've been improving since you started, you're raising your prices, you may well get more clients. So I encourage you to be open-minded to that as well. Now, pricing is a whole other topic that needs to be covered in a whole separate episode, if not more than one episode. However, for now, consider the following thoughts. So I always like to start with, and this is taking a big step back, of thinking, what is your overall target income? And that may be based on your current or previous full-time salary in your corporate role or other work that you're doing. You can use a bottom-up approach. Think about how much you need to cover your living cost and business expenses. Or you can do a top-down approach where you identify a dream target income. So some people want the 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever that might be. So different ways, but really think about what is your overall target income. And of course, specifically then for this coming year. Then how many billable hours do you have available in your week? So remember that you can't work every minute, and you don't want to work every minute of every day. You also have to do admin and accountancy. You have to do business development. There's all sorts of things, marketing, sales, and so on. So bear in mind that a very small portion of the hours that you're working will actually be delivering your work. So how many clients can you take on during that time that you do have available? And then using that target income, the hours, the clients, you can work out how much you need to charge in order to reach your target income with that number of hours and clients. And importantly, what would you need to offer in terms of your products and services to justify that price? Because you can't just raise your price and offer the same stuff that you've been offering before. Certainly if your competitors, your so-called competitors, are charging much less, you need to really add value and justify why you're doing things differently. It's more bespoke, somehow creating greater value. Now, again, this is an important topic that we can't cover here. If those questions I just asked sound interesting and you want more detail, I do have a free pricing strategy booklet that, again, doesn't go into all the detail, but at least gives you that starting point. So you can get that at onestepoutside.com/pricing strategy, onestepoutside.com/pricing strategy. And it's a little ebook, a little PDF booklet. And next week, we're going to be digging deeper into the financial considerations of running your business as well. So come back and have a listen to that episode. Finally, I want you to consider re-evaluating your business model. And this is perhaps the most crucial one, because you want to look at whether or not you've designed your business to really give you what you want and need. As much as you can play around with optimizing the type of clients you work with and what you charge and so on, there is still a limit to the amount of work you can take on, and therefore the amount of money you can earn within the limited hours that you have in your day. So there are a number of different aspects of your business model that you can tweak and evolve so that you can better leverage the time and effort that you're putting in. First, if you're working with individuals right now, and a lot of us are, and a lot of us want to because of our mission, because of the particular client we want to serve, can you consider instead, or at least also, working with companies and organizations? Because this is going to allow you both to go from one-on-one work to one-to-many, so you can reach more people the same amount of time, but also, again, to charge higher prices, because generally companies are able to pay much more than regular consumers. I am not telling you to completely abandon your morals and go into a corporate direction and instead of working with the people that you really believe passionately about helping. However, can you consider doing both? Can you consider having a separate offering that does work with companies, organizations, charities, whatever it might be, where you can reach more people with the same amount of time and charge more money? So that's if you're working with individuals. Can you consider working with companies or organizations? The second one, linked to this one, is if you're working one-on-one with your clients, can you think about launching a group program where you're able to deliver the same kind of support and results, but in a group setting rather than on an individual basis? So this has the added benefit of creating a second tier of services that you can offer. So there might be clients who can't afford your bespoke one-on-one packages, especially when you raise your prices. So then offering a group program will be at a lower price, and that's a great sort of second tier. And some people prefer to work in that group program. You get the dynamic of the group, you get the support and accountability and so on. So there are other benefits as well. So if you're only working one-on-one at the moment, can you think about launching a group offering? And then finally, again, linked to this one, if you're focusing on active service delivery and one-off projects where really you have to be there, you're literally being paid by the hour effectively, can you find a way to create more passive streams of income? Now, this is a very trendy topic. In reality, no income is completely passive. You can't just sit on the beach with your pina colada and watch the money coming in. At least I haven't found a way to do that yet. However, how can you better leverage your time to produce evergreen content rather than that one-off that you create once and then you can distribute and sell it again and again? So it might be in the format of a book, for example, or a self-directed course. So again, considering not just individuals, but companies, thinking not just about one-on-one, but one-to-many in a group setting. And then finally, thinking not just active, but also more passive delivery. So whether you're a coach or consultant, freelancer, writer, designer, there are ways in which you can redesign your business model to serve a different kind of client, to help a greater number of clients, and ultimately have a bigger impact with the same amount of time and effort. Now, it does require a bit of time and energy up front because you need to take a step back from the day-to-day running of your business and consider your big picture strategy rather than just sort of hustle away in your day-to-day project work. However, I promise it will be worth it in the long run because you'll be shifting your business in a more profitable and sustainable direction. So I'd encourage you to have a look at your own business, whether you're a complete newbie or you're a few years in, and think about which of these strategies you can implement, which tweaks you can make to your business model in order to better leverage your time. And again, you probably want to go back, listen again later today when you have time or later in the week to jot down some notes and to really spend some time thinking about these things because they're questions that you can't just answer on the spot in a second like that. So do really take the time and focus on answering those questions. And again, especially looking at the business model. And next week, we're continuing on this topic and we'll be digging into the specific financial aspects of setting up your business to give you that oh so appealing freedom and flexibility. Thanks so much for listening and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. I'm sure you know someone, a friend, a colleague, who could also benefit from this podcast. I'd love for you to share the podcast or maybe your favourite episode with them so that they can listen too. Thank you so much for your support.